If you were hoping that the pain was over in the Bitcoin space, my guest today comes with not so great news. Please welcome back to StansberryInvestor.com, Clem Chambers. He is with advfn.com and Investors Hub. They are both informational websites in relation to the markets and crypto. Clem, welcome back to Stansberry Investor.
Oh, great to be back. Sorry about the news, or rather my opinion. And
well, I have to. Yeah, I mean, look, I read your last article and I've known you for the longest time to be a crypto bull. So a bit surprised to hear that you've changed path.
well, I actually changed path in about January, where I actually flipped out of Bitcoin and Ethereum into DeFi. And then after having a good run in DeFi, I then flipped out into NFTs. And I having a good run with that, I then flipped out and said, no, it's all going to go down. And I've been saying that now for a couple of months, pretty much since the top. And it's going to go a lot further down. I mean, I see it going under 20,000 easily and probably quite soon. And then I see potentially a bottom around 10,000, but I think 12, 13,000 is a good target for the actual bottom of the market.
Clem, what are you basing this on?
Well, it's very funny and it's a bit strange, and it just keeps paying out for me. And that is, Bitcoin does the same old pattern time and again. This is the fourth time it's done this now. You can look back at 2011, 2017, I think 2015. If you just look at the chart, you'll see exactly the same pattern over again. It repeats itself, and it's to do with the halvening, I believe. And you know, it goes up like a rocket, comes down like a rock. And every time it goes up like a rocket, it tends to double, and then it comes back to a level which is basically double the low of the time before. So the last low was roughly 5,000. It did go a fair bit lower, but called it 5,000. So this time I'm expecting to see the low to be 10,000. Last time it went to 20. This time it kind of went to 40, but then the institutions came in and it went to 60. But the actual shape of the progress is exactly the same. And you know, I predicted the rise because the beginning of the last rise was exactly the same as the beginning of the rise of Bitcoin this time round. And I said, look, it's the same pattern again. It's going to go through the roof, and it went through the roof, and then it tops. And I said, look, it's the same pattern again, and the pattern is the same with Ethereum and Bitcoin, exactly photographically the same. And therefore, oh, it looks like it's going to come down, and it's come down, and it's paused exactly where it should pause as of the last charts. It's like, you know, it's almost as if you've got a chart from someone who's a time traveler in front of you. And it's just repeating that cycle because it's the same cycle. It's the same audience. It's the same driver. And therefore, it's the same pattern. And, okay, so that's why it's happening, because it's just same audience, same pattern, same drivers.
Okay, a lot to unpack here. Okay, so your target, you wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin, you said, were to go to 20,000 and possibly 10,000. On the Ethereum front, you wouldn't be surprised if it fell to 1,000, correct?
Yeah. Well, I see those as near bottoms, because you know you can get capitulation. So Bitcoin could capitulate as low as 7,000 or 8,000, but I don't really see that as being the long-term low that we're going to see for the next couple of years. We're going to get a crypto winter. And that crypto winter is going to see Bitcoin, I believe, around 12,000, 13,000 for extended periods. And with Ethereum, probably be, you know, 800,000 or 900,000 on Ethereum for extended periods of time. With a lot of, you know, bouncing around between those points, but that will be, when you look back, you'll say, oh yeah, it was kind of going along at that level. And that's what I'm seeing. I would be amazed if it doesn't go below 20,000.
Wow, okay. So when is this winter coming for crypto?
Well, it's already here. I mean, if you're long, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And then it's going to just sit around going nowhere for a long time. Now it's in the crash mode. And then it's just going to go a couple of years, it's just going to go along like it did after 2017, 18. You know, it crashed in 2000 and early 18, late 17. And then it went through 18, 19 to 20 before it blew up again. And it's just going to repeat the same old, same old. And that's what I'm expecting. So actually, that's really rather exciting, because you can sit on and acquire dollar cost average Bitcoin for an extended period of time, waiting for the next vertical, which will be, you know, 4 years from when the last one was.
And let me ask you, Clem, because a lot of people were speculating or thinking that the correction here really started since Elon Musk's tweets. Then we saw the China crackdown tripling down here. So do you not think that also played a role, or is that just noise to you?
Well, it's just noise to me, but what you will see is when the market does things that are just technical, people always want to stick it on a person. They always want to say he did it, they did it, it's them. She said this, he did that. And they never say, oh, well, it's technically a reason for it is this, that, and the other. They don't like non-personified reasons. And now, if you look at the stock market, everyone talks about, oh, there's a melt up. Oh, bad news is now good. Somebody said something bad and it's gone up. But it's actually nothing to do with the people. It's to do with the technicals, the money flows, etc., or the halving in the case of Bitcoin. But people want to stick it on somebody, and they want to stick it on some kind of catalyst. And yes, there are catalysts for these things, and I talk about it like this. There's this avalanche that's going to happen, and there'll be signs saying, don't make a noise, don't shoot a gun, don't shout, don't yodel, otherwise there'll be an avalanche. And someone goes up there and goes, maybe it's Mr. Musk that does that. And the snow comes down, an avalanche. Everyone says, he yodeled, it's his fault. But it's not his fault. The fault is it snowed all winter and it's on a mountain. And that's what generally moves markets. It's not the yodeler that made the avalanche, it's the snowfall for the last 3 months.
Okay, let's bring it home to the investors though, Clem. Because a lot of people are taking a step back thinking, what have I got myself into? Maybe they parked a lot of their money in Bitcoin. Maybe they were using it as wealth preservation. Maybe they, bought into, this is the future. I need to, put more money into the crypto here. What is your, what are your words of advice to these folks? Just have patience?
I would say this is going to go a lot lower. And if you want to get your money back, because you bought at 60,000, you're going to have to wait a long time, 4 years. Yeah. And I would say that, in highly speculative, highly volatile, highly dangerous markets, of which Bitcoin is, unless you absolutely know what you're doing, don't do it. If you speculate, you're going to lose your money. If you FOMO, if you ape into a market, you're going to get killed. That's the law. Yeah. If you think you know, you don't. If you know, then maybe you should be playing. So,
right.
if you gamble with the market, you're going to lose your shirt. That's the law. If you treat the market like a farmer, you invest and you do your study, you do your due diligence, and you're very, very, very careful, right, then you'll do really well. But it's a dangerous market.
But what's interesting, Clem, is the timing of it all, right? Here was Bitcoin on this high. It was the unstoppable apex asset. We just had the Bitcoin conference in Miami. It was a great, get together with the biggest minds in the space, lots of enthusiasm. We have El Salvador coming out saying they want to make Bitcoin the official currency, Paraguay. It seemed like an unstoppable force. And then this, okay, the lights just got dimmed on it.
I would say this: you want to buy assets when everybody wants to sell, and you want to sell assets when everybody wants to buy. You want to buy at the bottom and sell at the top. When everybody's bought, you want to be selling. Yeah. When everybody wants to buy, you need to give them it. Yeah. And when everybody wants to sell or has already sold and everybody's crying, that's when you want to buy. That game is the law of investing and trading. So when you see everybody going rah, 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 whenever you see everyone saying it's going to go to the moon, having already seen it go to the moon, right, when your neighbor wants to buy because you've done well, that's the time to get out. It's the law. It's actually the law. Always been the law.
But so Clem, you still believe in Bitcoin? You still like Bitcoin as an investment?
Well, not this second in time, but when it goes under 20,000, and it may go to 10, I will start to buy under 20,000, and I will start to buy for the next 3 years. I'll buy a little bit every week or every couple of weeks. And by the end,
no, please finish.
Yeah, please continue. And I will dollar cost average in over 3 years. I will have one enormous position when it comes to 2023, 2024. And then I'm expecting to go through the roof and go to maybe 100,000. And guess what? I'll sell out at 90. Yeah. And then I'll let it crash down again because it's going to do it again. Yeah, so if you want to play this game, look at what happened in 2017 and then in this cycle, and just play as if the cycle is going to repeat. Use that as your roadmap. And that roadmap, if it plays out, you'll be in great shape. And if it doesn't, well, maybe you need to modify your plan. But if you don't have a plan with these things, you're going to get killed. If you follow people's advice, that say, everything's going to be brilliant, it's going to go forever up. No, that's wrong. It's always wrong. When markets go vertical, it's normally the end, and you've got to be ready to get out. Markets cannot go vertical. And I'll tell you another thing, and I love this tip, and it really upsets a lot of people, particularly at the top of the market. When you start to see log charts, it's all over. And I remember back in 2000, I was at a hedge fund and they were looking at log charts. I said, you can't look at log charts, that's ridiculous. And they said, why not? That's all about growth. I said, well, if you look at log charts, the world's going to be a smoking cinder because things can't go up logarithmically. That's not how the world works unless you're a bacteria. Yeah. And everybody was looking at log charts at the top of the market in Bitcoin. I was going, no, not log charts, it's the end. Well, I knew it was the end already, but log charts was just absolutely ringing the bell for the top. So you've got to realize that charts that go vertical, and people in equities now should bear that in mind. Charts that go vertical, very, very dangerous, very, very likely to be the end. You've got to be very, very careful. And Bitcoin did that. It went up like a rocket. Now it's coming down like a rock. And it's going to do it again in 4 years' time because that's the cycle. It's very simple. If you grasp that, there's a lot of money to be made.
Gotcha. There's a lot of the gold bugs out there now, Clem, saying, we told you.
Well, exactly. Gold's very, very interesting because it's not performing properly. Yeah, there's inflation out there. They're printing money. It's not going up. So what conclusion are you going to come to when everything says gold should go up and it isn't? It's going down. That's a very, very interesting indicator. And I've got a stack of gold and I'm looking at that going, the market's telling me there's something wrong here or there's something different from my model. And you've always got to be prepared to be wrong. Even if you think you're right, the gold doesn't know I own it. Gold doesn't care I own it. The markets don't care about me. Where am I wrong there? Where am I wrong with gold? I've got all this gold and it's not going up, even though there seems to be large amounts of inflation, not only here, but coming. Something strange going on there. I'll work it out. And when I do, I'll make a lot of money. But if I don't work it out, well, I'm just gambling, aren't I?
Clem Chambers, always good speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me here today on StansberryInvestor.com.
Thank you.
We'll see how it plays out. And thank you all for watching. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned. In the meantime, remember, share us where you watch us. That's it for me. I'm Daniela Camboni.